So at this point, we know a lot about Black Ops 6, and there's a lot of reasons to be hyped, but I think there's a lot of things that are still kind of on the edge concerning people, and we're going to talk about some of those different things. When it comes to being hyped about the game, you can ramble off a full list of features that are returning features and then some new things. We got 16 classic 3-lane maps that are brand new. They've never been in the franchise. 12 of those would be 6v6 and then some strike maps. And you got this omnidirectional movement, which will probably revolutionize the way the game's played, just the same way that Modern Warfare 2019 introduced the tac sprint that allowed us to do some different mechanics, bunny hop. I think this is going to be an evolution of that. And then most of the games going forward, obviously, if you like this play style, it'll allow you to enjoy those games. And I think COD's getting back to the arcade. They got to find the balance. I'm sure they'll balance it out. You'll find out more as time comes on. We're getting 2 zombie maps at launch. One's a little bit darker, one's more lit up. And we're going to get the main crew. So there's people that are get hyped about that. Unfortunately, if you're a big map zombies enjoyer or DMZ, you're probably not going to get either of those. And you know, this is kind of what is available, round-based zombies. We also get 12 brand new weapons that are going to be coming to the game that have never been in a Call of Duty title. So that'll be kind of interesting considering all the weapons in DLC. It'll be a nice fresh flavor out of the 90s or whatever they're going to use. We also get custom HUD presets. Pretty awesome, especially if you want to mix and match. You prefer to look down in the bottom left for your minimap or top right. You'll have the options to go ahead and kind of mix that up. We also get theater mode returning, which is kind of nice. Those are mainly in Treyarch Call of Duty titles. They don't really have that in Sledgehammer IW. So hopefully this is like a feature built in because of the unified engine. Pretty much anything they build within the game will be available for all the other studios to use. The same way that Treyarch worked on some MWZ zombies, they were able to implement certain things and test stuff that will help them and save some time or saved time in the development of zombies, at least on the round-based version. There's also going to be a dedicated melee, which you could give or take. I think it'll be like an heirloom thing from Apex. And then we also got Classic Prestige coming back, which a lot of people new to the franchise, starting from probably around Modern Warfare 2019, aren't really familiar with this. Prestige, it's an optional thing. It's not even something you have to do. You can kind of stop at level 55 if you want. That's what a lot of people did. Or you can go for that grind, Prestige 10 times and go to level 1000 and get rewards along the way. Obviously, these are cosmetics that are just kind of peacocking, they call it, where you can gloat, say, hey, look, I'm Prestige Master, or I have no life, you know, whichever, you know, you prefer. When it comes to those types of things. And then we get day one on Xbox Game Pass, which is kind of influx of a lot of players that don't normally have access to the game because it costs $70 or $80, whatever region you're in. And then that doesn't even count the Vault Edition, which goes above 100 or whatever the case. So those are good things. Now the concerns. A lot of people bring up one of the biggest issues. They'll go, oh, servers. Specifically, these are ran through Demonware. So it's kind of out of the control of the studio. So Treyarch has virtually no control over the servers, how it works with Demonware and Activision, and then now with Xbox. However they work on servers, that's on them. It's kind of out of Treyarch's hands. Tick rates for multiplayer are 60 hertz. A vast majority of games do run at 60 hertz. But when it comes to big maps, I know there's some exceptions where like Valorant's at 128 or something like that, but that's competitive, super competitive. COD is a casual game. I don't think they'll up that tick rate. When it comes to Battle Royale though, Warzone, it's 20 tick rate, which is the same as Apex Legends. And then I think Fortnite comes in at 30 hertz. So I don't expect, unless a game comes out with a big map Battle Royale, 60 hertz, I don't envision COD upping their standards on this side. I know one of the memes that came around for a while there was 12 hertz servers, and that's specifically tested within private match on non-dedicated servers. If you go to dedicated servers, that should up you to the 60 hertz if you're playing that when it comes to COD. But the other part with the servers, which is interesting this time around, is that they have this always online feature. So even if you're just a campaign player, you got to be connected to online. For whatever reason, that pisses people off. They want to be able to have access to the game, whether it's a physical copy. Even with the physical copy, you're going to have to be connected online, which for some people, that's just a deal breaker. I get it. It doesn't really impact me, but it doesn't mean it's not a problem to some of you. I don't envision them changing this, but because of this system, I wonder if you're going to be able to pause in zombies. So hopefully they have a blog coming out later. I know that I'm going to talk on this a little bit later on some of my bullet points when it comes to the blogs, because there's going to be a ton of them that give a lot of these details. That's why I'm addressing them in this video, so I can raise the concerns. If you agree, if you think I miss anything out, feel free to comment that down below. The devs will likely skim around and watch different creators' videos and kind of see what the sentiment from the individual creator is, as well as the community, to kind of gauge what people are most interested in them discussing, so they can put out a blog and discuss those concerns. The other thing is the anti-cheat, and this is run by Ricochet. This is not run by any of the dev studios. So Treyarch is not out there working on the anti-cheat. That is purely Ricochet. And the reality of Ricochet is that it's always improving and it's constantly gotten better over time. But the reality is, if you think that Ricochet sucks, then your opinion's probably not going to change. I think it's drastically improved from Warzone 1. There's obviously been some hiccups here and there where there's maybe a little slight uptick in cheaters that are a little bit more easy to spot. Besides that, I really have a generally good experience in multiplayer and Warzone. But again, like I said, if you think it sucks, then you're going to continue thinking it sucks, because I don't think they can improve it in a way that basically makes the number 0. I just don't see that happening. And then that leads to the shadow ban system. And I think there's a lot of people that are pretty vocal about this shadow ban system. And they say, oh, I get spam reported. The people, they were upset that I stunned it on them and got a good kill and the whole team reported me. That may be true for some cases, but one person can't just spam report you in that count. They've edited that out. And that cut down on a lot of people complaining about shadow bans. I think it's mostly a non-issue when it comes to the whole scope of players. There's over 100 million players that are playing the game. I don't know what number you think are getting shadow banned, but it's probably in the tens of thousands, if that, that's less than 1% of players. So I think they see it kind of as like, it's a non-issue. If you're getting shadow banned constantly, it might be more ideal for you to play on console until your trust factor goes up on your PC. Stupid system, but I don't envision them being able to change it. Especially Treyarch has no control over it. So I'd always like to bring that up. It's just, I don't see any urgency behind it, because I think it's mainly the vocal minority complaining, and not even a 1% of the players actually deal with shadow bans. The other part is a lot of people get hyped about these pre-order bonuses, and there's so many of them. And just like every year, I will tell you, don't pre-order. I wouldn't pre-order. I haven't pre-ordered, and I'm not going to pre-order until we get much closer to an actual viable point where it actually makes sense. There'll be tons of beta codes when the beta drops. They'll give you access to the early access, and then there's going to have the open weekend. You get to play the game. If you like the game, pre-order the game. It's a no-brainer. Or just the day before, buy it, or whatever you want to do. I mean, it's your money. It's just, normally I recommend actually getting your hands on the product, which in this case would be the beta. Try it out, and you're going to be able to find a lot in the beta, right? You can feel how the health feels in terms of TTK. Does it feel like 100 health or 150? Is it faster than Cold War? Is it about the same as Cold War? Does it feel like Modern Warfare 2019? How does the Omni movement feel? Does it feel clunky? The tag sprint, does it reset with the slide and cancel, right? Slide cancel, does it do that? How does the aim feel? Is there a delay when you jump, aim down sight? How do the perks feel? Does anything feel particularly overpowered or broken that's going to make the game non-fun for you? The streaks, are they loopable? It's score streaks, not kill streaks. So how does that work in your individual playstyle? Do you play the objective with them? Are some of the streaks worth actually getting high streaks? Is there going to be a nuke? A lot of times that's not in the beta, but you get good access to that. How do the maps feel? How many maps are we going to be able to try in the beta? How do the doors feel? And what do the spawns look like? Always in the beta, they're going to be broken. One of the biggest issues that the game or Call of Duty has been trying to recover from is Infinity Ward. When they made the original engine for Modern Warfare 2019, they basically did a trash system when it comes to spawns. Sledgehammer's kind of done the best they can to improve those systems to kind of get away from that squad spawn system, but they kind of had to start from scratch. And then I'm hoping, because they're in a unified engine, that Treyarch has picked some of that stuff up to help with some of the spawn issues that Sledgehammer has kind of had to deal with all year, originating from Modern Warfare 2019, which kind of had what has been dubbed that squad spawn system, which I think they've gotten a lot better, especially if you play normal standard maps. You play DOS House and Shipment, you're expected to have trash spawns, right? But besides that, how does the spawns actually feel? The other part is aim assist. And a lot of people get caught up on this. Aim assist has really not changed basically ever in Call of Duty. I know a lot of people contest this. The really only change, they changed the range of aim assist was effective. Back in the day, basically, if you had an SMG, it went up to a certain range. LMGs went further, and you got aim assist up to a certain range. For whatever reason, 2019, I think because of Warzone and crossplay, they bumped that up to 200 meters. And then besides that, they've added all these other tools to essentially dial in your aim. Dead zones, the sensitivities, the micro sensitivities with ADS scalers, and they basically allowed you to micro tune it. A system that was kind of clunky, had huge dead zones back in Xbox and PlayStation on the original devices. Now everything's kind of gotten much tighter. The responsiveness has gotten better. And as a result, they've made all these side buffs to controllers without ever changing aim assist beyond that range value. So I don't expect that to change. I think they have their feel that works. I would imagine it would be nice if they kind of scaled it just slightly down to compensate for those other improvements they've made on the other side. But I don't really see that happening because Call of Duty is a controller dominated game, regardless how it started back in PC and back in the day. The other part is SBMM, more engagement optimized matchmaking, where it kind of tries its best to predetermine how you're going to win and lose so that you can control those dopamine hits and balance the game against you and for you. I don't really see this changing. I know X Defiant came out and they're touting this no SBMM, but pretty much every game has this system because it makes more money. Like until that system is determined to make less money, I don't see it changing. The other thing, even though I've touched on it in multiple different ways, is this unified engine. A lot of people get caught up like, oh, but if it's in the MW2 engine, it's going to play like trash. Keep in mind that that's a very simplistic way to think about things, and it's just completely false. Examples of this outside of this are all these other games that are run on Unreal Engine. Whether that's Fortnite or Gears 5 or Kingdom Hearts, those are all games. I know most of you guys don't know them because you got COD players don't play other games, but those are all built in Unreal Engine and those games play nothing alike. And just like Call of Duty, it's really up to the vision of the studio to build the game in their vision. So although this game may have a little bit of a look and a flavor of Cold War, it kind of has a look and flavor of like MW 2019, MW3, MW2 even aesthetically, because they all kind of have that little bit of a look. But those games I just listed all play completely different. MW 2019 plays nothing like MW2 and plays nothing like MW3. All the systems, perks, guns, recoil, muzzle flash can all be tuned and dialed in to the developers' wants and needs for visions for this game. So if you have fears like, oh my God, it's going to play like MW2, well, it would only play like MW2 if they literally wanted it to play like MW2. But everything they've talked about, shown, discussed, and visited on with these topics shows that it'll be nothing like MW2. So I can understand that fear, but it is what it is, right? So what I would recommend doing is, if these are some of your concerns or if you have other ones, I would definitely stay on the lookout. Wait to play this beta when it comes out. The rumored date is supposed to be August 28th until September 3rd. It's supposed to be the first opportunity, right, with COD Next, which hopefully I'll be attending so I can give my live feedback, live stream that in a few months, which it is a ways away. There will likely be blogs that will be addressing these concerns, especially if they're pretty vocal ones or a misconception that maybe misspoke and said, hey, things are this way and it's actually a different way. They'll go ahead and correct that because they don't want that to kind of linger if it is a misconception. We'll probably get a dedicated multiplayer one that could be one large one, or it can split off and talk about the different things. Especially if you're newer to Call of Duty, you don't realize that they're going to talk about these things independently, kind of stretch out, and we'll get more teasers and trailers for all these things. But we got camos, weapons, the prestige system, potential for ranked at launch or maybe within the first season, how that will work, because we've gotten ranked pretty quickly after launch for multiplayer. Also, what the zombies is going to look like. Will they have dedicated maps? Will the perks work like Cold War? We've already seen some leaks where in the, not leaks, but in the footage, you can see some salvage on the ground from the Cold War system. There's the Gobblegums, which are originally from Black Ops 3. And then we'll get a Warzone blog or information relatively close to the actual launch of the beta, because they don't really want to talk about Warzone when we're not going to get it probably until November, end of November, December, usually 1 month after launch, which is October 25th. So I wouldn't be like in a rush to hear about that stuff. The reality is some stuff will probably be leaked, rumors, Verdansk. We'll kind of see how it goes. Did I cover most of your concerns, or what are some of your other concerns that you have for Black Ops 6? Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.